jazz hands.
Right. And just like that, it's Wednesday night, brought to you by WAF Racing. He's not here right now. He's actually on his way as we speak, currently going down to sick week down there in Florida right now. So yeah.
Sweet. Well, good luck, Mr. WAF Racing.
Right.
Yeah, it's a tough one. The original sick week is pretty tough.
Yeah, it's just like it's a grueling death march, just kind of like drag week is.
Well, so, the sad part is this week in Florida is supposed to be like single digits.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't look at the weather.
Yeah, so the only guy that's going to do all right is probably the Canadian with the GTO.
Right. Oh yeah, Rovik. He's I hooked him up with some stuff. He's going to be testing a bunch of nitro stuff for me.
Oh, so, sweet.
Yeah, he's going to run the 850 class. All right. Well, Colleen there. So yeah, there. So here's this is one of our sponsors right there. That is the sponsor right now.
Yeah, so. The one sponsor we have, which I'm glad we have them. Right. All right. And starting from the top, Dean Stevenson was in here at 649. Kerosene Cucumbers, the greatest name on all of YouTube. Dr. Go, Michael Schmidt, Fab Race Mod Repeat, Mohawk 62, Buick Smith is here, Val 360 Jimmy, Colleen Tebow, Clint Street Machines is in the house.
Nice. What's up, Clint?
Well, we got Lumpy Wide 5B. I've never heard of that guy. Well, welcome. Junkyard D, Colleen Tebow, who's in here moderating her butt off. And Blue Grit Garage, Bear Rose Garage, and Danny Boyd. So it sounds like a lot of the regular crew is in here rattling the bell.
Yeah. So and Blue Grit's right off. Hope everyone weathered the storm okay. Actually, me and Dallas were just talking about that. I'm in West Tennessee, and we literally still have 5 inches of snow and ice. Actually, it's not even snow; it's just ice all over the roads. And then because it was like not even really snow, it was more like these ice particles. I had this mound, this 3-foot mound that came off the roof and slid down. So now it's 3 foot thick of ice. So it's going to be around for a while because it's on the north side of my house. So no sun touches it. So it's going to be there for a while. It's going to be on my little pet.
It'll be gone in a week. Yeah. Well, pretty much the same here, except for I pretty much have been in the house for like 4 or 5 days straight. Today was the first day I left, and I went to get some well-through primer. I've been making a lot of stuff and getting my 63 Buick ready to go. I'm like so excited about this Buick because I'm literally like I'm at the cusp now. The engine and transmission are mounted in the car, like not permanent. I got to take them back out to paint everything, clean everything, and I got to go through the transmission and then put it all back in. But everything has a mounting fixture. It's all ready to go. And by the end of the week, I hope I will have a hydraulic clutch fabricated. And, and I have a 4-speed tunnel, like a true 4-speed tunnel now. Yeah.
So you're going to be, you think you're going to make what? You think you'll be on the track, what, 4 months, 5 months?
I don't have any idea. I did get a text message from Fab Race Mod Repeat about, I guess 3 days ago, and he's got my whole hogshead ready to go for my 9.3 Pontiac Olds.
Nice.
Yeah, so he'll be mailing it over to me here ASAP, and then I can figure out what to do from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have to make some lower control arms, and I think I have an idea, man. This is going to be a freaking cool YouTube video if I can make one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it work or not, but I believe so. Okay. You know how you get the rubber bushing inside the steel frame, and then in the center of that is like a centering pin?
Yes.
It's a sleeve. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take the rubber out because it's like 60 years old. And I'm going to buy urethane for a bowling ball, and I'm going to pour it in there. I'm going to center the bushing and everything in there first. And I'm going to pour the urethane in it.
Wow.
How's that sound?
That's going to sound bitching because then won't have any deflection, so it'll be good.
Right. But yet I didn't have to fabricate a whole bunch of crap. I just pour the urethane in there, let it set up, and bang, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. So Blue Grit saying that they got 10 inches of snow. I'd rather have 12 inches of snow than 1 inch of ice, especially now that we have a week of sub-zero temps. Exactly. That's my point is that now we have 1 lane on the main roads, 1 lane on the freeway. In fact, basically everything in downtown is still shut down because it's all frozen. But every night, because it's in the teens, it refreezes. So It's literally never going to go away because we have tomorrow's going to be the only day that's going to be above freezing here. We have one day, and then after that, it goes right back down to 20 degrees during the day. It doesn't get over freezing for another week. So, but my kids did get experience something. I got to hear this, Dallas. You'll love this. So it was the first day of the snow. Actually, the second day. I think this was Sunday morning. I woke up and I hooked on some hooks to it, some toe straps to the back of the bumper on each corner, and I hooked it to. They've got these sleds that have a little hook in the front of them, and I towed them around. Now their sled would fall right into the tire tracks of my truck, and I towed them all the way up around the big loop and then drove it around. And they kept saying, "Go faster." Now I was only doing like 5, maybe 10 miles an hour, but you know when your butt's like literally that low
on the ground, it feels like you're going 100.
Yeah. And they said faster. So I literally sped up to 20 miles an hour, which is the speed limit through the neighborhood. And they were screaming to the tops of their lungs. And they had the grins from eye to eye, like ear to ear, just, because the snow was coming up and they had their hands up. I'll tell you right
did your son eat it? He's normally the one that eats it.
No, no one ate it because their sled was right in the track of my tire, so it like fit perfect. So like there was no like thrashing about it. It was dead stable. So they thought it was awesome.
Yeah, well, let's see. Blue Grit Garage. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. Where did I see something at? Miss Brooke here says she got Brooke Clark, otherwise known as Mrs. Soon to be Mrs. Dylan Levi, right? What is up, people? Took my NC LEX. I wonder if there's an awesome name for that, like NCLEX. I took my NCLEX RN nursing boards this morning. Now to wait 48 hours to find out if I can add RN to the end of my name. Awesome. Oh, Nurse Ratchet.
Yeah. It'd be awesome. Well, congratulations. I think that's awesome. Yeah, that's a
good idea.
That's a big move.
Yeah. I'm happy for you.
Me too.
You're definitely on your way up in the world. And you guys are so young. You got the whole world ahead of you.
Yeah. Don't have kids right away.
Yeah. Don't have kids. Enjoy yourself.
Yes. But have kids. They're fun. But do it a little later on. Get yourself established first. I was an older dad. I had my first ones at 35, the ones I know about. And then I had the twins at 40. But I'm telling you, I wouldn't change it because I was established. We have kids get to go out and do things. So just play it like that. It's fun.
Bear Rose Garage says the fun of building a car, you pull out so many items, or so many times the nuts and bolts just fall into place at the end, sometimes in the right place. And that's kind of how this one's going to go. It's going to be like put it together, take it apart, put it together, take it apart. And then finally when I put it together, it's like together like in a couple of days, because you've done it so many times. But
remember those videos where they throw bolts at it and then all of a sudden it just all of a sudden
the fenders and everything are on.
Yeah.
In there. Yeah.
It's almost to that point. Yeah.
I was actually going to make I was recording me making the elephant ears for the engine. And my phone died halfway through the video. And I didn't know, of course. So I just keep going. And when I get done, I'm like, damn, what the hell's going on with the screen? And I'm like, oh no. And it just showed me like cutting the piece out. And I'm like, all right, this sucks. But, I'll do the full John Wilburn. I took some pictures and sent them to a few people. Let's see here.
I love the John Wilburn pictures. They're the best.
Well, isn't it funny how we call it the John Wilburn? And
he was the first one. He was the one. He would always show, hey, check this out. So,
all right. I don't know if you can see that very well.
Go forward. Come closer to the picture. Yeah, we can kind of see it.
Kind of make it out there. Let me see if I can do this or something. Does that make it better?
Yeah, a little bit. There it is. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, but I did the front elephant ears are done. Now I'm just moving on to the hoop in the back, and I can get the engine is completely in there, and then my master cylinder's in there. I pulled out all the old brake stuff yesterday, and I'm on my way. I'll have to make something for a parking brake. I'm sure of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not just a rock. No.
Yeah, it's a stick shift car, right? So like I hate the idea of not having one. Most of the mechanism is in there, but I had to remove the stuff under the dash. It's got like a, like a Mopar, like your darts. It has like a pull out looking hockey stick thing that's underneath the dash. Okay, it's where on the passenger or on the driver's side of the dash. About where you're
passenger side. Mine are on passenger side.
It's on the passenger side of the dash.
Oh no, mine's on the drive. Well, I'm sorry, not passenger side. I mean, it's on the
left side.
Yeah, it's on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. Yes, sorry.
Okay, this one was like in the middle of the dash.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh wow! But the problem is the steel cable runs directly where I'm trying to run headers at, and I'm like, nah, that ain't gonna work. You can't all have the same spot, right? Because that's like right next to the master cylinder, which is right next to the clutch stuff, which is right next to the steering box. And I'm like, why is everything on this one car consolidated right in one spot? It was ridiculous. Yeah. So I'm like, I got to get rid of some of this crap. So the parking brake cable went. Let's see. I decided to go to a hydraulic clutch assembly, which I told you that a while ago, but I have to make one. I don't know if I told you that. I ordered one from a company that was supposedly a bolt-in, and I believe it fits a 61 to 63 Buick LeSabre, which is the full-size car, because it's nothing like what I have in there now, not even remotely close. But instead of sending it back and then, just refunding my cash, and then I still got to make something, I'm just going to take the master cylinder off theirs and all the stuff, and I'm going to put it on my pedal assembly. And so I think it'll work out fine.
Buick Smith asking you a question here.
Okay, where's that? All right, Dallas. You can also use some plastic wrap as a dam and get a tube of windshield urethane. They do it on the back pumpkin mount for the Toyota RAV4s.
I've done this.
You've made a mount or a polyurethane bushing with this windshield stuff?
Yes, exactly. It's a black stuff. It's a
what's the durometer reading on it? Do you know?
I know nothing.
Is it pretty soft?
What's that?
Is it soft?
Yeah, well, it hardens up. I've done it with this, and I've also done it with like the actual like the bowling ball material. I've used that before, but this one I hear was a little softer than the bowling ball material. Bowling ball material would just put a lot of vibration into it. Now, I did it for a Volkswagen. Was the first thing I did it for.
I'm not worried about vibration at all. I'm worried about stiffness.
Yeah,
and the bushings are like $100-something a whack, and a whole entire can of this urethane is like $100. So I'll have all the bushings for $100.
Right.
Yeah. And I do not care if there's like, if there's vibration in the drivetrain. I just don't. It's a race car.
Buick Smith saying my dad used to pull us around on an old Pontiac hood from the 50s that had a nice roll in the front. So we went over the big drifts. Yeah. See, luckily this was totally smooth. No one had been out yet. It was like literally like just virgin soft, snow. It was snow, a little bit of ice, but it was only about like say 3 or 4 inches deep. It was actually perfect. Right now, it literally is it's just ice. Literally, it's an ice rink, or it turns to slush. Then it refreezes every night right now. So yeah.
Well,
oh, here we go.
Okay. All right, Dougster saying question: aluminum heads for big block Mopar. What would be better, stainless exhaust studs or stage 8 locking bolts? We'll be running headers.
I've used the stage 8 before, and I like those. But here's the thing, though, is if you're running the Remflex, I know I've tried to get them to sponsor us. Once you tighten them up, I never have to retorque them, and they never come loose.
I tried the stage 8s before, and I thought they were kind of a waste of money. They do work, because they don't back off, but they're. I mean, I didn't have any problems with the stage 8 header bolts, with the exception of those things are like a 6-point bolt, right? And when you tighten them to the position that you want, you're supposed to slip this E-clip on them. It keeps them from backing off. If your bolt is not exactly situated where it'll go on there, you cannot get it on.
Yeah.
Right? And then if it blows the gasket out, taking them sons of bitches off is hard. Real hard. what I've had the most success with, and just like you said, Renflex gaskets, so you never have to replace the gasket.
Yeah.
And then I've had really good success with, like, I know Mopars use studs from the factory, right? But headers generally don't support studs like that.
That's right.
Not well. There's very little room. But there used to be this old style of brass nut you can get. Did you ever see those?
Oh yeah,
You're
yeah.
going to use studs. You put them brass nuts on there, and the brass actually expands faster and contracts slower than the stainless steel. So it'll probably never move. The other thing is brass doesn't rust. So you literally just crawl up under it. Now remember, brass is soft. So
it is. But you know, I got to tell you what, mine had the 12-point heads and a 12-point little
stage 8s.
Yeah, stage 8. So mine was 12 and 12. So like it had this infinite amount of positioning.
Oh, I didn't have that. Yeah, no, that must be a newer thing because I haven't used them since 2006 just because of that.
Yeah, it was a little, so like if it was a 3/8 bolt, like, you know, like shaft, you know, it was a 3/8 on the top, or 5/16. And then it had like a little, you'd put the stage 8 on there, and then it had a little tiny clip. The biggest thing I hate about those is getting that clip on there in that little tiny groove to lock that thing on there.
It's hard. You got to use pliers to get them on generally, but getting them off is like a whole nother game. But the good thing is the hardware don't fall off. It's all going to be there.
Yeah.
So
look at this. So she had a seat come in. So she's getting there. She's
along with her seatbelt tabs. Hubby got me a new purple steering wheel. Steering column is coming tomorrow or Friday. What do you do? What kind of? You're not using a factory column? The effort's coming right wrong. Man, they're making some really nice stuff, huh?
Yeah.
How dare you? Hey, speaking of that, I did find out, like, I'm going to try to fit a set of 68 to 72 A-body headers on this little Buick Skylark.
Bitchin'.
And if they don't fit and I got to cut them all up and modify them to make it work, I did find out that a 1961 to 63 Pontiac Tempest has the same K-member except for its front steer.
Oh, okay.
So I could use the steering box, the column out of the Tempest, and then make it front steer.
That'd be awesome.
And get rid of the rear steer issue.
Yeah. Look what Dougster is calling her. Brooks.
Book and Brook, huh?
Book and Brook. I like that. Yeah, I'm with you on this one here. Taking them off is the hardest part. That's why I stopped using them. Is on a Mopar, the number one, you have this one that's kind of like up there, like on the back of the number one, and then also to the number 7, which would be the front one of the number 7. They're literally impossible to get those clips off of, and you have to put those in first as you put the header on. So I'm over it. I just don't use those things anymore. I'll just tighten them up, and then I'll just check them every once in a while. But after you check them for a while, especially with the Renflex, you never have to touch them again. You
know the thing that I learned a long time ago is orange RTV on the threads.
Oh yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
You just crank them in there, and then you tighten them down, and that RTV like hardens up, and it stays.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I just keep torquing them on there, just checking them, and then after a while they just stop moving, and then they're good. Leave it. Levi is saying that I only use the steel studs with a nice nut, or stainless steel stud with a normal stainless nut for your daily driving. Go with bolts. I agree.
Yeah, if I'm daily driving it, I won't even put headers on them anymore because the 20 horsepower is like just not even worth it.
Not worth it.
Headache.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. And plus, if you're daily driving it, you're never up in that RPM range where it's going to be useful. You're really just down. You're down below 2,000.
Exhaust manifold log works just fine because you put some Renflexes on that sucker and it'll never leak ever.
Yeah. One thing I did put on my truck this not last weekend, but the weekend before I had all the snow, was I actually put in a fast system on my truck, and I got to tell you, that is the best improvement I've ever done on my truck. It starts up better, it runs better, and I'm getting 2 miles per gallon better now.
Well, it'll pay for itself then in a matter of 100,000 miles.
It's about $800, but it just, the amount of power that it has, just as far as like how smooth it is and how easy it starts, so much better. And
Yeah.
then I broke the front drive shaft. I told you about that, right?
You did tell me about that. Did you get a new
Yeah.
one in there?
I got the new one in there, but you know what? It's out of balance. So anything over 65 miles an hour, and it was like $400. So what I did is
Oh, no, I meant like, did you get your original OEM rebuilt one in there?
not yet because there's snow on the ground. I just got the U-joints literally yesterday. So I put it all together and it's all back together and it feels nice and good. So the problem is I have nowhere to put it in there right now because I don't have there. I'd be laying on ice taking it out. So it's going to be a few days before I can change it out.
Okay, so Buick Smith is saying, Triple Crown question. On the GM A-body rear forelink, can we use the no-hop bars that bolt to the top arm holes on the pumpkin and then give you a new hole further up to mount the arm? Okay, so we have talked about this multiple times. Not necessarily this kind of configuration, but all right, you're only required to have the factory suspension pickup points. If they're not used or they're used in a different manner, that's fine. But it has to have the factory suspension pickup points.
That's correct. Yep.
So if you look at if you go back to watch the videos from Triple Crown this past year, the boys from SSR Performance showed up with what was it, like 81 or 82 Malibu.
Yeah.
And it had 6 control arms on it. And when you crawl up there and look at it, you see what's going on is the factory stuff is still there, but there's additional bars that make the factory stuff pretty much void, right? They're there. There's nothing saying you can't have more. So,
right. Exactly. Right. You got to read around the rules. As long as the factory stuff's there, you're good.
Yeah.
I'm with you that Levi. The fast unit is a great upgrade, and this truck is my tow vehicle. So they were like, I just got the 100 gallon per hour one, which is like good up to 600 horsepower. I don't ever want to make it anything over 600 horsepower in that truck. That truck makes like 350 right now. Makes like 600 foot-pounds of torque. That's all I need in that thing. You don't need any more than that because it loses traction so easily.
Dude, I just saw a Cummins truck on Facebook the other day that made 3,700 horsepower to the rear wheels. And it was like the pull was like, yes. And it's over, right?
Yeah.
It was like 190 pounds of boost.
I saw it was 100 and something, just ridiculous pounds of boost. You're like, wow,
15 pounds of boost is doubling the engine size. So that makes it what, like if it's a 6.7, that makes it like I don't know, math in public, 13.4. So that's 15 pounds of boost. If it's 150 pounds of boost, oh my gosh.
Jesus. Yeah. I'm only running, I still got a factory turbo on it. It's plenty for what I need it to do. I don't want to do anything more with it. But I'm telling you, putting that fast unit on it was the best thing I ever did.
Duxter says, from Stroker McGurk, if some is good and more is better, then way too much is just right. So sounds like you get your fast system is way too much and it's perfect.
Yeah, I don't know, man, because it gets to a point where it gets really touchy. I have a little dial on it, so when it's straight up and down, that's factory horsepower. I literally drive it around all the way to the right. To the left. So it's it actually makes 50 horsepower less, and it's actually for fuel economy. In the middle is factory, but it actually gets better mileage there too. And if you turn it all the way to the right, so that way it's like 11.
You're rolling coal.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really roll coal. This is a California friendly one at the time, but it makes a lot of beans. And when I tow my big trailer, the most I've ever done it would be about the 3 o'clock position, and 6 is like all the way up. It's right here, and that's all it needs to do. And that's towing up hills. I'm fine. I have the Titanium series is what I have. They're great, reliable. I've tested mileage, and I'm thinking I should. I just want to prevent excessive fuel system wear. Yeah, for the longest time, and this truck's, I got it brand new. I just put a BD diesel, one of those external pumps on it, because mine had a lift pump at the engine, and I had the same one on it from 2000 because it went out in 2006. I had the same one from 2006 till literally just like last year. and then it broke, and then the new pump comes and it says made in China. The old one said made in America. As soon as I put it on there, I could hear that thing, and I was just like, oh, this thing's terrible sounding, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. The new one, I can't even hear it running. The fast is so quiet. Yeah, I love it. It's awesome.
Fab Race Mod Repeats says Stroker McGurk Dougster off the top rope. That says Levi, but he obviously the one right below it, he made a mistake. But Dougster off the top rope. And if you ever met Dougster, you don't want him coming off on the top rope on you.
Yeah, he's the potato guy, right? That's him.
Yeah, he's the potato guy. Yeah. Let's see. KS Skyhawk says fashion was late. That ain't great, Heil. Okay, you're fine. We haven't really done much. We just kicked off the show. There hasn't been too many questions yet come across.
Oh, well, here we go. There's the first one. Switch pitch.
Now you're the first one to say switch pitch.
All right, here you go.
Buick Smith says, saw a video on Sleeper Dude channel. They drove a 6-cylinder Ford Fairmont with sniper injection, 5 people in the car, leaned it out 18-to-1 air fuel, and got 41 miles per gallon. I was waiting for pistons to melt. And that air fuel ratio probably will melt pistons.
Under load. Now, here's the thing, is that
they leaned it out at cruise?
I leaned out the green one all the way to 16.7 going out to Dallas, Texas. And it said right there, 16.7 the whole way out there. I wanted to see if I could get better mileage. And I was running a ton of timing on it. No detonation, no nothing, because I have one of those little magnetic timing, knock sensors on there. And it got decent mileage going out there. But if you have the timing set and it's not under any load, if it's just cruising on flat ground, it's totally good. The second I started to lean into it, it would go up to like 15.1. Yeah, I actually had it so that way it'd go up to 15.1 right off the bat. But I was doing 16.7 all the way out there in the slant 6.
That is something, brings up something I haven't thought about. Like, you could literally play with your fuel and timing on the fly.
Yeah.
And that's what, if you look back at the way the engineers had carburetors set up in the 70s and the early 80s, they were meant to run super lean at part throttle and then have like a ton of vacuum advance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, like, everyone always says that, the HEI has got way too much advance. Well, it does. If you're talking vacuum advance. If you're talking mechanical, that's easily manipulated by changing the weights in the cam in the center. Yeah. But I always found that interesting because it's not something I've ever been really able to play with and here with a sniper fuel injection, or even those throttle bodies I got from you.
You can do that.
I would be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Because you can set it on that one. It's got a window screen on it. So you can actually set the whatever you want the target to hit and be driving down the road and it'll hit that target. So
I wonder where it starts to smoke those O2 sensors though.
Well, it doesn't smoke the O2 sensors. It'll be fine. The reason why it'll have problems is people don't put enough timing in it because it's so lean. It's burning so late and it's burning out the exhaust. And that's what makes the exhaust glow and the valves get hot and all those problems with it. But if you have enough of advance in it, it'll explode inside the combustion chamber and it won't burn out the exhaust. So it won't overheat. And that's what I was doing when I had that ignition system, I ran that thing. I think I got it to 17-to-1 and I was running at almost 55 degrees total timing. But remember, I could only do that under cruise conditions. I couldn't do it over 70 or actually over 65 miles an hour because there was too much load on the car from the cross-sectional area and the coefficient of drag. But at 60 miles an hour, I could do that and I could get away with that and it would run just fine. It was really under that like 22 to 2300 RPM range is where it would be just fine. Anything beyond that, it was too much RPM. It just couldn't do it.
The Dougster's saying that if you want to summon Dallas, just say switch pitch 3 times like Beetlejuice. Switch pitch.
Start clicking 2 wrenches together, right?
There's no place just like appear. Just appear with my Zagnut bar.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel a little frisky. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan Levi says, do any of you have a 1/4-inch aluminum plate, approximately 10 by 10 inches, needing it for the heifer? I have been able to search Our scrap pile is due to white death. I hate winter. Um, well, no, I don't have any, but I do have like some half-inch aluminum plate. But I bought it off of Amazon, friend, and they have all that stuff on Amazon. I was going to the metal supply stuff. I mean, I like going through scrap and using everything I can, but I didn't have anything to build this car, and I ended up just going to well, today I went to picked up some primer and some weld through primer and some metal bits at Tractor Supply. So, but otherwise, I've just been going to Amazon because you can't get good quality stuff anywhere for a reasonable price.
Tech, which one's more efficient, dual pass or single pass aluminum radiator with the core size the same? Here's the thing is that water's only going to pick up and distribute the heat at the same rate. That's the beautiful thing about water and not necessarily coolant, but a 50-50 mixture. So it really, if you're only picking up X amount, I would always have a lot more as far as cooling capacity. So I would try to have a dual pass because that means that sometimes they stagger them, and the more surface area you have. So if you have one big area, you have water in the center that's not touching. Some thinner area where you have two of them, so that way you have more surface area touching, because that's actually what's going to transmit. That's where it's going to cool the cooling effect going onto the little fins. So I would always do that. I would always try to get the dual pass that have the smaller holes on them, that has many of them, and stagger them.
The most efficient radiator is a single core, completely the most efficient, because it doesn't have any heat blowing back on the next core, right? So, and that's what
that's really stagger them.
The radiator that used to be the ticket, like I don't know if you can even afford to buy them anymore. Be Cool used to make 1-inch wide cores.
Yes.
And they were a single core, 1-inch wide core, and it had the most surface area that you could get on a single radiator.
You don't make those anymore, unfortunately.
Nope, they don't.
No, they only have one type of core. Like, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. They probably do, but it's through the roof. If you're going to get a radiator,
oh yeah, they used to be like $300-400 back in the early 2000s. So I imagine now they're probably like $800 or $900.
Those are over. They're over the $1,000 mark. The $180 radiators only come with a certain core nowadays. You know, so the one that I put into Cookie Monster is actually out of a Dodge Dakota truck. So it's an aluminum one with a plastic cap on it, but it's got staggered holes in it. So it's still the same radiator, but instead of being in order, one's here and one's staggered like this. So that way the air is passing through like this. So it has to touch it. But yes, you are right. The bigger, the longer, and the thinner it is, the more surface area. But they don't sell those anymore like they used to.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was just throwing that out there, though. The single core, if you can find one of them old school, Be Cool used to sell 1-inch wide core radiators, and they were the ticket. If you didn't have some hairy ass, 14-to-1 compression race motor running on nitrous, you were okay on that on the street. And that's what I used to use on the street on my small block Fords. And even with air conditioning, they didn't seem to have a problem.
Yeah, also too, the fins going across, the ones that are 90 degrees of the coolant, if let's say it's top to bottom, so the fins go in the opposite direction, the ones that are actually pick up the heat, get the ones that have as many of those as possible, because that's what's going to pick up the heat and distribute the heat across it. So that way, that's going to be the cooling effect, because that's going to pick it up. So as many of those and as thinly dense as
the
those.
More fins, just that's what he's saying, the more fins per square inch, the more it cools, because it's more certain.
Yeah, those fins. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Clayton's Toolbox right below that says, if someone was to build a turbo Buick 3.8, what would be the best donor car? Are all the 3.8 blocks and heads the same? How much boost do you think they can take? Okay. Well, this is my area of not expertise, because I'm not a V6 turbo guy, but I love the small block, right? And the small block is this thing, the 300. Okay. So if you're looking for a donor car, I don't know what you're looking for, price or most of the parts. Because if you're looking at like price wise, a Regal with the 3.8, it's a pretty good place to start. Or a turbo Buick, even better. But if you want to just make your own, let's say you wanted to make a V6 turbo and put it in an S10 pickup or something, right? Okay. So the best place to get a 3.8 V6 Buick is you can buy or find 86, 87 Regals or Monte Carlo or Cutlass. V6 was the 3.8 V6 Buick was an option in all those cars. And you might be able to find one in El Camino or something. But if you get an 86 or 87, good chances are it's the same block as the Grand National. Now, here comes the differences. The heads used in the Regal were, I mean, that's the same ones that came on the Grand National. But there are stage 1 heads available that have bigger valves. There are stage 2 V6 turbo Buick heads, which changes a lot of stuff. The intake port, the runner, the angle of the runner itself. There is all kinds of crap. But if you were to want to do bang for the buck, okay, and you were wanting to, like, I wouldn't even bother with the 87, 86 V6 Buick. I would go to the junkyard, to the wrecking yard, and I would find a 96 to 2002 Camaro with a 3800 Series 2 in it. And it has a cast iron version of a stage 2 head, and it has an intake manifold made for rear wheel drive. It'll also, if the Camaro is an automatic, it will have a 4L Slippy E right behind it. And you can buy parts and stuff for that. I would use one of those engines and the EFI off of that. And then here's the neat thing. Get a computer out of a supercharged Regal, and it will run that whole thing. It doesn't know that it's not supercharged, but if you were to rebuild the engine, you can put some supercharged style pistons in it that lower the compression height and decrease the compression ratio, or you can just stick with the 9.5 to 1 compression and then just turbo it the heck out of that, and it'll probably run just fine. Just be conservative with your boost. But if you were going to go with an old school block 86, 87 Buick Regal, Cutlass, Grand Prix, Monte Carlo, El Camino, Caballero, they all had a 3.8. And then the front wheel drive 87, 88 heads, or 87, 88, 89 heads, front wheel drive V6 Buick before the Series 2, those cylinder heads are what was used on the 89 Trans Am, Turbo Trans Am. So they're 20 horsepower over the stock 86, 87 V6 Buick head. The block is a deep skirted block, just like an LS. The Buick 300s, the block is capable of 800 horsepower. I've seen Grand Nationals do 1,000 horse on a stock block. They don't last long, but they do like handle that kind of power.
Time,
right? Yeah, it ends up it's only a 2-bolt main block. So it ends up just literally pulling the threads out of the block when you got all that boost.
Yeah.
Is what happens. So
a little farther down, Mean Street's asking, what size carburetor should I use on my W2 318 I'm building? I have a quick fuel 650 double pumpers sitting on the shelf. That's the perfect carburetor. 650 would be absolutely ideal for what you're running. I'm telling you, it'll be absolutely perfect. You'll love it. And it'll be easy to tune. It'll be easy to drive. It'll be easy to tune. And if you're not going much over, say, 7,100 RPM, you do not need a 750. There's just no reason for it. You'll lose all your drivability on it. See, did I miss anything back here? There was all just people kind of greeting everyone. Dougster was saying that here in Michigan, they got a metric F ton of snow in January and February. Just the other day, we got 6 inches. Just today, I have close to 6 inches in my yard. I could never do that.
20 inches in his yard.
Oh, 20 inches. I'm sorry, 20 inches in his yard. I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do that. Nope. I think ice and this whole stuff we get every year since I've been here. 1 week we've been shut down every week, and it's the longest week of my life. Literally is the longest week. Anything else here? Oh yeah, right here. Do the Grand Nationals guys use the 4.1 V6 block to build the Big Q V6? I heard about it years ago, but never seen it in practice.
Yes, they do. It's actually something they used to make the stroker kit for it, and it would come out to 274 cubic inch. And that's what they ran in like Busch Grand National when they were running V6 Buicks, was the 4.1 liter block with the stroker kit and then the stage 2 heads.
Yeah.
And they're really hard to come by. The 4.1s are really hard to come by now because they were only around for a couple of years. They had actually, I believe they just bored the 3.8 or the 3.8 block. I think they just bored it. And it's actually a 3.97 inch bore. And then I think they took it out too far because they used to eat head gaskets really bad.
Indecisive Garage saying a Be Cool single core right around 450, depending on what you're putting it in. Well, here's what you do is go to Rock Auto and then start looking up different vehicles and looking up core sizes. I had in the Cookie Monster, I have one of those Be Cools with twin Spall fans on it. That, I mean, it's an awesome setup, but it's so damn heavy. The new radiators are just as efficient and they weigh nothing. I put a Dodge Dakota radiator in it with a fan on it. I lost almost 23 pounds off the front of my car just by the radiator. And you can usually get those really cheap. So like they'll sell some with the plastic tanks and aluminum. They're like 60, 70 bucks. In fact, the one for the 68 Dart, I'm putting in a Charger, like a 2015 Dodge Charger. It's got the heavy duty cooling. So I'm buying the radiator and the fans. The fans are only 70 bucks for two fans that go right and they clip right onto the radiator. And the radiator is only 65 bucks. Try to buy that. And those fans are designed to run for literally ever. So try to do that with all this aftermarket stuff. So, and you can pick that up for, under 200 bucks by the time you do all the wiring. So that means radiator and fan. So just check out Rock Auto. They'll have all the different dimensions and they'll tell you where all the holes are at. And just keep looking through there because they'll give you all the dimensions on it.
Well, KS Skyhawk says he sent me this email the other day. It's a Kansas City Craigslist. There's a high performance Buick 350 headers Mallory. It actually has a Mallory dual point distributor on it, or I guess it could be a
Unilite.
It could be a Unilite. TA valve covers, TA stage 1 intake manifold. It's got a Edelbrock Performer carburetor on it, and a Beef Turbo 350. $1,800 for everything, and that's absolutely a steal because the intake manifolds are like $500 bucks for just the intake manifold. The valve covers are like $680. So,
you know how you tell if it's a dual point or Mallory Unilite? Ask them if it ran. Ask them if it ran. If it runs, it's got points. If it doesn't, it's a Unilite distributor. Someone touched the hot wire.
The thing he left out of there is this got headers too. Oh, no, he does say that in there. Yeah. The headers are like $500 now too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It's an absolute steal. I just don't want to drive to Kansas City to get it. And then I don't have anything to put it in. So
this one's right up your alley.
Okay. Dylan Levi saying the really fast Buick V6 guys do the stage 2 aftermarket block. A friend of mine just sold out all of his Buick V6 parts. He's been in the 6s with those suckers. And they're light. So my Buick V8s, which is the V8 version of that V6, weighs 150 pounds less than a small block Chevy, and it's right off the nose, right? So it's like setting your engine back, I don't know, 4 inches or something, 6 inches. It's pretty good. But the blocks are stout. That's why I like them.
Yeah.
But you guys will see. I'll start making some hairy 300 Buick stuff here soon.
So Levi's saying, let's talk vacuum, especially vacuum pumps. What's it worth, horsepower and torque? Do they actually work better than evac tubes to the headers? Now, we've done them both. Now, the vacuum pumps are more reliable. You're going to get a more reliable vacuum pump as far as in the mid-range. Up on the top, evac tubes, you're not going to release. They're going to pull just as hard. But the thing is about the vacuum pump is that you can set it for a certain amount and it'll stay there. Here's the problem, though, is that if you're going to run vacuum pumps, you're going to need some oil squirters to either to the bottom of the piston or get some way to get oil to the pin, because they will run that pin dry because it pulls so much vacuum on those things that oil is hard to get
mist. Yeah, it kills the oil mist in the air.
It kills the mist, so there's no oil going there. So that's why on the rods that I made for those for the big blocks, I put an oil hole up through the center of that, so that way we can oil those things. I run evac tubes because it's cheap and it's easy, and they do work at higher RPMs. If the engine's going to be either at idle around the pits, and then 5,000 and above, I would just go with the vacuum tubes, man, because it's cheap and it's effective. You can get the vacuum pump, but They work well. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying for budget, I would go with the vacuum tubes. With the vacuum pump, it will work like at every RPM. It'll be at say 20 inches of vacuum. Have you ever run either one of these? Or you run the vac tubes, right?
I don't have either one on my race car. So I'll tell you something interesting here. Okay. Vacuum pump is expensive, really expensive.
Super expensive.
Okay. Yeah. But the good thing is, like Shane said, it will work from idle all the way up. The header evac systems only work from about 3,000 on up, right? So it's got to be wound up, and it's generally like a race car application. You think it's more than that?
Mine is, mine pulls a little vacuum on it, but I put a gauge on it, and it's about 4,500 on mine because of the overlap. It really comes down to cam timing, overlap. There's a lot of different things that play into account for that. But yeah, for me, it was about 4,500 RPM.
So there is a kind of cheap and easy way around this. Okay. Moroso makes a vacuum pump. They're probably $1,000. Factory, if you're running like a standard small block Chevrolet, a lot of cars in the 80s came with smog pumps on them. And those of us that lived in the 49 states other than California, we used to use the smog pump as a vacuum pump and just leave it on the engine. And then you could buy the vacuum pumps or the smog pump for like $20. All it is a vacuum pump. Or if you want to get creative, you can go get a vacuum pump off of like a Power Stroke diesel, like say a 94 to 96 Ford truck with a Power Stroke diesel. They had vacuum brakes instead of working with a Hydro Boost system, and they had a vacuum pump that ran those brakes. You can buy those pumps, and they're fairly cheap compared to the Moroso pump. Now, where I saw this really working was the Fastest Street Car America shootout used to be like the measuring stick for the street cars. Those were the guys that used to use the factory pumps, the smog pumps on these, because there was no purpose-built vacuum pumps at the time. They were probably, if there was some, they were stupid expensive. These guys were using just the smog pumps because all it's doing is it's just a pump. It's just pumping air into the exhaust, right? But if you flip it around the other way and let it draw from your crankcase, which it just goes up to the valve cover and draws from the valve cover, it'll pull vacuum on the whole entire thing. Now, how much power does it make is completely dependent upon your rings.
Exactly.
If you have like, let's say a 5/64 ring, it probably won't do crap. Okay. Now, if you have a 1 millimeter or 43 thousandths ring that you're running,
makes a difference.
And it's something that's designed like a Napier style ring where it's meant for negative crankcase pressure, where it will seal that ring tighter against the cylinder wall with less surface area, that will probably be worth, I don't know, anywhere from 20 to 50 horsepower, depending on RPM.
Yeah. It made a big difference on my pistons too. I have gas vented pistons, so gas ported, so that goes down and it seals the ring, and they're thin rings. So that way I updated my my evac tubes on that, and I really saw a difference on it. You could feel it. He's saying that he can certainly not look up the OE radiator for Corvair stuff. I got it, but you can look up any vehicle on Rock Auto, and it will give you the dimensions for anything that does have a radiator. Just remember, don't look up a Volkswagen Bug either, because they won't have them either. But just you can look up anything, and they'll give you all the dimensions, the hole sizes, and everything, and it gives you tank, core, and holes. And I looked up one to find the one that fit my car. It took me a couple of weeks, but it's something I just started. I started looking for, and a Dodge Dakota seemed to work just perfect. So, and also gave me because it was smaller, I was able to set it in a little bit more. So it gave me a little bit more room down there for the fan. So, yeah.
Izzy says super cool racing antifreeze, used it in the 394 pickup. Do they still make it? I have not ever heard of that. I'm assuming no. But the big thing that everybody's going to now is this Evans waterless coolant. That's what I've seen everybody using.
Yeah, exactly. I got to tell you though, I still like water, and then I've used the water wetter, and that seems to work. Or just
I have the best luck with distilled water and water wetter or purple
yeah,
ice or anything like that. I always have the best luck with that
me
stuff.
too. I literally do, because I've worked hard to get my cooler, cooling system right where I want it to be, and it's not overcooled. I can still drive it on the street, but I want it to be able to heat up, because I don't want to sit there running for 20 minutes to put heat in the engine. But if I turn the pump off and everything, I'll get the thing up to a temperature pretty fast. But when I turn the fan on, it comes down quick. So yeah,
Dude,
I'm with him. Distilled water.
you know what? You remember at No Name Nationals this past year, I had to flush the cooling system on my Suburban.
Yeah.
Dude, it runs so efficiently. Like, okay, and here's the thing. I'll let everybody know what's on here. So at No Name Nationals, I kept having like an intermittent cooling issue with my Suburban, and sometimes it would be fine, sometimes it wouldn't, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So we got to No Name Nationals at Sykeston, and I told Shane, okay, I'm going to run up to the Dollar General and I'm going to buy some CLR. I'm going to flush the radiator and the cooling system out. So I get up there, and guess what they don't have? Calcium line rust remover, right? And I'm like, oh, crap. So what do I like? Well, I see they got LA's Totally Awesome. So I grabbed some LA's Totally Awesome. Okay. And here's what I did. I drained the cooling, like the radiator down, I don't know, a gallon or so, 2 gallons. I don't know. It wasn't that much actually, but I poured the whole entire gallon of LA's Totally Awesome in there, and I let it run with LA's Totally Awesome in it for like 2 hours, maybe.
I remember that. Yeah.
It was getting hot, and I would cool off the radiator, and then it would start getting hot because I was just sitting there letting it idle. And I was wanting that stuff to get up to temperature. And then I flushed it out, and I flushed the dang thing for like an hour. And like for an hour, rust and pieces were coming out of there.
Chunks.
And
I remember that.
Dude, now it literally like, okay, so the other day was like 20 as a high, right? The truck never even got to open the thermostat.
Wow.
It never even opened. And like, it still had warm air on the heater. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty intense. This thing's pretty efficient. But I'm going to start doing that from like now on, because I think an efficient cooling system
is amazing.
Goes a long way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So Mike Schmidt's asking something. Fantech, our flex fan's good for anything. There's lots of haters. Good for small horsepower increase since the fan resistance is reduced with speed. Many people have done this. In fact, there's a whole video on this. If you go to like, what was it? Horsepower. It was a horsepower. One was Freiberger. Where they were in the dyno room.
Yeah. Engine Masters.
Engine Masters. They actually did this, and they ran it with the flex fan and whatever. Believe it or not, the flex fan is the absolute worst thing you can put on there. Believe it or not, because the flex, the clutch, the fan clutch is actually the best, and obviously no fan is even better than all those. But they had all these different plastic ones. They had these metal blade ones. But if you can find the video, it's on Engine Masters. They literally did this. They went through like maybe 10 or 12 different fans, and they proved it out. But yeah, believe it or not, because I was one of those too. The flex fan, I was like, oh, the flex fan, it flexes.
It changes the pitch. Yeah.
It changes the pitch and everything. Dude, it kills it. In fact.
No, I know. I saw the video. I think the one I wanted to try was to see, like, I wonder if you can put a flex fan on a clutch.
Probably. But because they do pull good air. Because I can tell you right now, I
know they pull good air, but see the reduction in pitch, because it does flex, the reduction in pitch would make it pull less power. Right? It'd be like having a variable pitch on a boat.
But it's varying the pitch because of resistance. So the resistance is actually making it fold. So therefore, it's going to take more power because it's pulling the same amount of air, but because it's now pulling back, it's pulling back because of resistance, which is now drag. So now drag is you're turning not only the fan blade, but then drag against that amount of force on the metal blade. So it does make sense.
I'm a big fan of mechanical fans. I like mechanical fans. I like, not straight mechanical. I like them on a clutch.
Yes.
But mechanical fans, they don't generally fail.
No, you're right. And look, I had on the Cookie Monster, when it was a street driven car, I had it on a flex fan. The flex fan allowed the car to drive on the street without overheating because it was literally pulling just gobs of air. And it worked well for that. Did it kill anything? I don't know. I couldn't tell at the time because I was dealing with small numbers, and I was putting a bunch of nitrous to it, so I didn't really care at that time.
Well, so Dylan Levi's talking about my thoughts were is newer cars have electric vacuum pumps that can be had cheap. They don't pull a ton of vacuum, but for cheap, it could be interesting to see what it can do. It depends what engine you're putting it on. If you have, I'm telling you, if you have something newer with thinner rings, it's going to make a bigger difference than something with old 564 ring.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, just putting the evac tubes in is a simple deal. And don't put it in the way they tell you to. Don't put it in there where it's flush. If you take it and you bend it and then you turn it into the exhaust, so that way it can pull a negative pressure on it. So the exhaust going past. So they tell you to go in and cut it flush. Go in there, go get yourself a piece of pipe from Home Depot, because all it is just a piece of pipe that comes with the kit, and they'll cut it. And then bend it. So that way, when you put it in there, you bend it. And that way the tube is facing that way on the exhaust. That way the air going past it will pull a massive draw on it. Because when they're flat, when it's idling, it will want to pop back up into the exhaust. But if you're doing this, even at idle, it's pulling a vacuum. And when you give it throttle, man, does it pull. It'll suck your hand right to that thing. Now, if you really want to get technical on it too, you could put a gauge on there, so you can get one of those mechanical vacuum pump ones that has a set pressure, so because you're pulling from both valve covers, and that way you don't over suck them. Because mine was actually over sucking it for a while, and I had to put some pinholes in it just to defeat it, so to speak. But if I was going to do it again, I would put one of those gauges on there, so that way at a certain vacuum, it would just open and allow air to go into there and defeat it.
And Fab Race Mod brings up a good point here. If you run the vacuum pumps, however, they are more maintenance and have to replace the pump vanes regularly.
You do. Absolutely. And now if you're going to run, like on mine, in the valve cover, I put extra baffling in there, and then I went and got stainless steel wool, and I made a basket in that, and then I put that inside the valve cover, so that way it was hitting the vapor and it was pulling it out of suspension, the oil, so that way it wouldn't go into that, because you'll sometimes coat your exhaust with that. And if I were to do it again, I would run it through a catch can, so it would go through a catch can and then go to the exhaust. But yeah, I agree with him. You're going to be messing with that thing constantly.
Oh, Racer Ray saying here he saw the purple ice is not recommended to be used with distilled water, just drinking water. That's funny. I did not know that. I always put the purple ice in distilled water, and then I would check the pH of it, and I would add baking soda till the pH was balanced.
Yeah. I've actually just used I used distilled water, and then if I'm going to use, say the water wetter, I just use the one from the sink, because we have all that contaminants taken out of it here. But I just normally used straight distilled water. Now I don't have to put any of that stuff in there after I did the radiator on it. So Clint's saying that what Levi said, my buddy grabbed a vacuum pump off a Toyota for $40 at the wrecking yard, and it runs his power brakes with it. Huh. Good to know.
Buick Smith saying that he did put cardboard in front of the radiator of a C20, and it does now get up to 165 instead of 130. Still can't get it up to the proper temp. I'm at a loss, but have to try a smaller radiator. That's never a good idea. More cardboard.
Hey, Mr. Wilson's here. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Wilson? Go check him out. Muscle Car Solutions. He's always got good videos up there. And he basically says it like this: vacuum sucks. It's a joke.
Yeah, well, just like I'm a fan of fans.
Right, right. All right. The dad jokes. These are the dad jokes, right?
Let's see. Doug's saying the direct drive fan on the 426 Hemi 830 horsepower. Well, the Hemi could afford to puke up 30 extra horsepower, right?
Yeah, I'm not seeing where that one is. Oh, here, right here. What's this one? Buick Smith. Go ahead on this one.
That's Buick Smith just talking about his truck.
Oh, that was it? Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Main Street Mopar. Professor P. Will 1 5/8 headers be okay for now on the W2 318. No one makes anything bigger for trucks. That's going to be fine. That's good up to like 500 horse.
Yeah, you'll be fine for that. And then if you get it later on, buy the next size and then make a step tube. So that way you have 1 5/8 and then step it up to a 1 7/8. That way you'll start wave tuning. So yeah, run a 1 inch on that, 1 foot for the 1 5/8 and then step to 1 7/8 and then run a 3.5 inch collector. That thing would be ripping. Great for filling your. Oh yeah. Well, this is true. Yeah, electric vacuum pump's great for filling your vacuum reservoir if you're running a big cam. You're running a big cam, just run everything manual. Don't even mess with that. That's just extra weight. If you want to baffle the hell out of your valve covers, if you're using exhaust vac, I emptied an oil pan in one race with an old figure 8 car. Yes, you can do that on a figure 8 car. You will. What I tell people to do that is they'll pull the vacuum, then evac off the driver's side valve cover rather than the passenger side valve cover. That side they'll just put the filters on that side, so that way they're pulling a vacuum on the other side. But yeah, they'll suck it right through.
Okay, so Michael Schmidt saying electric fan tech. There are many electric fan options. We have tried some 15 amp fans. They seem lousy. Any guidelines or suggestions we can follow to switch to electric fan? Any recommended brands? All right. Years ago, I used to be like a big staunch Flexolite fan guy. Dude, get a Flexolite electric fan. That's the greatest thing I ever did. Now I just go to the wrecking yards and I find something that's like a Lincoln Mark 8. And I take the fan and everything off it because it's better than the stuff you can buy aftermarket. Think about it. Especially like the Crown Vic. I don't know if the Crown Vic has a mechanical fan. I think they have electric fans. A Crown Vic police car, that fan would be on all the time in the worst possible scenario on the planet.
Right.
Death Valley in the middle of the summer with the air conditioner on high, writing you a ticket, right? Those fans kick ass.
And that's why I went with the Dodge Charger, because the 2015 you can get the Police, which is a heavy duty cooling. It's got 2 fans, brand new from Rock Auto, with the radiator, and the fans clip into the radiator, so it's its own self-contained unit, and you can pick them up for nearly nothing. The radiator's like $80, and the fans are like $65, and that's for both fans.
Now you have to make the whole thing, and then if you find a fan that you like. See, okay, I'll tell you some interesting tech that came out of the world of stuff that I used to deal with. Okay, if you look at any of the fans made after, like, say, 2002, you got ones with. If you go earlier than that, you got just looks like a regular fixed pitch fan. Okay, and then about 2002 and later, they started coming out with pitched fans that were curved blades. Okay. And a little bit later than that, maybe 2006 or 7, they started having a J blade fan. Okay. So the J blade, and if you look at the J blade, if you're looking at it from the top down, it looks almost like an S, because it'll go S through the center of the shaft, and then the other side is J. Those are the most efficient fans that there are.
That's right.
And that came from submarines. Submarines originally started out with straight blades, and they went to what they call a skewed blade. Then now they went to the J blade.
Yeah,
makes no noise, more efficient, takes less power.
Yep, and the pitch changes the farther away from center it is, because the speed is going to be different. So
it's higher on the leading edge.
Yeah. So it's going to be going much faster out here, and it'll pull the same amount of air all the way across it. That's what makes them so beautiful.
So that's the ones I would get. Find something from the Lincoln Mark 8 used to be the ticket for everybody, because it was the one that had the best fan from the beginning, and it fits almost any application. But they do require their own Durrell controller. Because the Ford fans, if you get the early Ford fans, they pull some serious amps, and it will smoke a controller.
Yeah. That's the one with the beautiful thing about the Charger one is that you can literally wire them in, and you can put them on a 30 amp relay, and it will work. But I also run the Dual pulse modulated with fan on that, so that way it speeds up slowly and shuts down slowly, and then I'll run it like a steady half speed, so that way it does it by temperature, and it runs beautiful. So I just like the Charger ones because they're so cheap and they're brand new from Rock Auto. Just go check it out. But those radiators are really tall, so sometimes they don't always fit. So just know that.
Yeah, that's what was good about the Lincoln Mark 8 is it has a really weird shaped radiator. It's actually like a Fox body Mustang radiator.
Yeah, exactly. One will fit in the Charger, but like in my Dart. But believe it or not, those Chargers have a very huge front grille area that you just don't see, and the radiators are massively tall.
Well, Dylan Levi says I just have to find every horsepower I can on a budget, pulling all the junkyard tricks out. Well, dude, you're gonna have to do it all. I mean, gap the plugs, the whole 9 yards, 55,000s, 60,000s, 100,000s.
I honestly, man, at that point, I would try it before you spend any money on it. I would run the EVAC system because it's cheap. And if you call me up, I'll tell you how to do the exhaust pipe on that, and it will literally pull more inches of vacuum than you could ever use, but it will absolutely help. It will suck if it's in a road race car, but in a drag car, it's going to help out, and it'll seal those rings. It'll keep them from vibrating.
Kerosene Cucumber says you want a brushless motor fan, very efficient. I think that's like the newer trucks, 2008 on up was brushless fans, right?
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of them. Flexolite's got theirs now out. In fact, that was the biggest thing I saw at PRI was all the brushless fans. DeReal's got theirs. What was that other one? Spall's got theirs, and they're flowing some massive power. CFM. I think that some of them were like almost up to the 4,500 CFM mark for like a twin fan. So that's highly impressive.
Let's see. Buffdale Campos says that's a scimitar blade. So the big J blade is a scimitar blade.
Oh, is that what it's called? Okay. Yeah. Miss Catchy saying, "Good luck, Brooke. However, one dare reckons you done the work, a noble profession." Good.
So Dust Up Garage says, I remember people talking about Ford Taurus fans. The newer Ford Taurus has I want to say a dual fan setup on it. If you can find the police car ones, they got bigger motors.
Yeah.
Right. So they run at higher RPM and longer.
And they could just run forever. Yeah. And they're kind of like their own little unit that you could bolt onto. I've actually ran them before. They're rather cheap too. From the wrecking yard, they were like $5. Levi saying the rings in the block are sure gummed up for 200 plus miles. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. Dude, just take them out and clean them, man. I mean, literally.
You don't need crap because you just put them back in the same cylinder on the same piston.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take crap to clean those out. Probably, I'll bet you those rings, if they're factory rings, what the cool thing about the Fords in the early 2000s, they had like chrome rings or like steel rings. You could literally twist them up in a pretzel and they wouldn't break.
Yeah.
They were so unique. That's the first time I'd ever seen like that stuff used. And also, they would cut your hands like a freaking razor blade if you touched them.
Yeah, they would. I remember that. They just sliced it, and it was like, and now you had this like slice across your hands. You're like, damn it.
Yeah, and the sad part is after you get done doing 8 pistons and 8 rings, you'd have freaking just be bleeding from both hands in the same spot because they get you every time in the same spot.
You know, Levi, what I've done on these, if I was going to re-ring these, or not even re-ring them, I would take them apart. I did this. I would cut the rings, and then I would leave the piston upside down, just this much in acetone, and literally will eat everything off of that as far as all the carbon and everything, even inside the groove. And I get a little toothbrush, just take it out. And
I wouldn't even take the rings out. I would just do like Shane's saying, just stick them in a vat of acetone.
Yeah.
And then spin the rings on there till they move freely, and all that stuff will keep washing it in the acetone.
It'll come right off. It literally will come right off. Yeah. And since it's an A engine, you don't have to do anything. Just leave them on there. Screwdriver, just a toothbrush, put on there, and they'll clean right up and send it on.
Yeah, just make sure they spin easily. If they spin easily in the groove,
Yeah,
they won't be stuck any longer.
yeah, exactly. And then the acetone, even if there's chunks in there, that stuff will just melt right off of that.
Yeah, it'll break anything oil or gasoline based down. Oh man. But yeah, I think that's the best. To be honest with you, what would be probably the best, pull them rings out, pull them you know what, that might be worth a try at that point, is pull those pistons and rings out and keep the bearings in order, put it all back together with the same stuff. Yes, but man, I tell you what, this might be the perfect time, the ideal time to try out like a home job, a home or a home job. But I would polish those cylinders until they're like almost you could see them. I would not do like some 400 grit home job. I would do like a 2000 grit home job and see if I could get it thin, like real, hardly any friction in there.
I don't know if I would go that much because you got to put some oil in there so that way the oil ring's going to seal. Otherwise, if it's too smooth or too polished, it just won't trap any
runs
oil.
Out. Yeah, the oil runs out, but it's got more. If you hit it with 1000 grit or 2000 grit, it's got all those little grooves to get in, bunches of them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know on this one because if you have you watched any of that oil?
I think it'd be worth almost like dyno testing that to see.
Yeah,
because when I was a youngster, it was rough cylinder home. Okay, you wanted a rough cylinder home. You didn't not necessarily like cut your fingernail in it, but like it was rough, like 400 grit.
Yeah, it was 400 grit. Yep.
Then, let's see. When they went to, was it plasma moly rings? That's where you had to have the it had to be like a certain finish, an RA finish on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then at that same time, in like racing applications like NASCAR, they were running that super fine finish. And I don't know there's got to be benefits to it.
Yeah, but there's a special ring for that. You can't just run any ring on that. If you go, I think it's the Motor Oil Geek. Is that the guy name? That's
yeah, that's the guy that does the piston rings. That's Lake Speed.
Yeah, Lake Speed Junior. Yeah. Go and watch him. He does. I actually learned a lot from him on rings on this as far as finishing and whatnot. He's done all this videos, and they've done this on dynos where they've tested it, made power with them, and as far as how that all works. So yeah, check them out. But I've only gone to 800 grit is what I've done on the 6.1, and those were the super thin. I forget what they were off the top of my head, but I think they were
1 millimeter ring, probably.
Yeah, 1 millimeter plasma.
Yeah, I've tried because see, all right, there is the problem with the plasma moly rings is you had to have a certain finish or it would just chew the moly right off the face, right?
Yes.
And the moly is really soft. Most machine shops wouldn't do that, or if they did do it, they charge like $300 something to do that hone job. And what I found is you go buy a really light stone at like Napa and put it on your home hone, and then what you do is you use thicker oil. So when you hone, it kind of dances over the top of the oil instead of being like, usually I use like WD-40 or something, but what you would use for those hones was a kerosene hone, or you'd put kerosene in it, and it's a thicker oil, but it works like WD-40. But the hone itself gets the hydraulic wedge going on the cylinder, right? So it evenly and smoothly cuts it really fine. And you could do those at home, and it wouldn't chew up them plasma mollies, and you could usually get them to seat. I always did. If I was doing plasma mollies and I did it at home with like a 800 to 1000 grit hone with kerosene, the easiest thing to do is when you put good oil in them, because I always did that with the roller cam motors. You put good motor oil in them to begin with and start them up and break them in, and you don't have to break them in. You just start them up and let them rev them up to like 1000 RPM, a little bit over idle, and
so
let it run.
This is the name of what I was trying to remember. It's called the Plateau Hone. That's what it is.
Plateau Hone.
Yes, and that's where you use the one grit, and then you use a finer grit just to knock it off, but it still keeps the grooves inside there. So you basically have a groove, but then it's flat up on top, so that way you can trap the oil.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, I think this is it right here. I think this is what
Buick Smith is saying down here. Plateau Hone, yes, for the win. 600, then knock tops off with 1,000. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so the one I used on mine is I used 4 and then 800 is what mine recommended, but it was literally a Plateau Hone. And I didn't use WD-4, didn't use ATF. I used kerosene for mine also because it had the certain amount of weight for it. And they tell you you got to get your drill a certain RPM, and you got to go back and forth, and you have to get it at a crosshatch of like
45.
15. Was it 45 and 15 or something? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's a 45. And the hard part is, okay, it's easy to cut it to begin with. The hard part is getting the correct crosshatch in it.
Yes.
For it to collect the oil. That is varying the speed of the drill. You don't want what you want is a variable speed drill, but you want to put it on slow speed, and you move your arms up and down to the correct speed until you get the correct crosshatch. And after doing it like the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 cylinders, you'll kind of get a rhythm down to it, and you'll figure it out how you got to go. But you might have to go in there and hit it again with the heavy stone because you knocked it all down and got the wrong crosshatch.
Yes, I had to do that a few times. I luckily had a practice block so I could practice on it and get it right. But yeah, it took me a little bit on that because I've never had to. Before I would just take a Hone, I would just throw it in there. It was all the old Mopar stuff, the VA stuff. But when you get to that Gen 3 Hemi stuff, it's really thin and it's got to be right. So then I practiced on that, and then when I did the Cookie Monster, I also had the thin rings on that one. So so I did the same thing on that one.
Let's see. Dizzy's saying the Hone his brother-in-law had him use had white fine ceramic. I haven't seen that one, but I would have to say that's over 1,000 grit.
Yeah.
Let's see. Vintage Adventure Drives. This all sounds like tech I'll need with the 225s I now own. I'll be attempting to build a strong slant out of one of them. Hey, dude. Professor P's already got a strong slant video on Gilbert's slanted sled.
It runs good.
Yeah, it's already got a good combo. Matter of fact, they dropped that over at Just Mopar Joe's place when he got done with it. And Just Mopar Joe was like, "Man, I can't believe this is a Slant 6."
It runs good, man. It's a combo I've been working for a while, and it's a camshaft that it's tried and true, and it works great. The biggest thing on that one was all the porting done on the exhaust stock manifold. It's a stock manifold on there, but all the porting on it is really what did it as far as on that. And on the head, the only thing we did on the head is I just did a tiny little pocket port on it, nothing crazy, and I didn't even clean up all the ports. I just took out some of the flashing, and that was it. I didn't do any porting to the intake or anything.
A custom cam on that too, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yep, and
you have the profile for that one. Well, yeah, I guess I can probably call you and order one of them, right?
Yeah, I actually put it on the video when I was building it, and it's got the numbers right on it. But it's a Gilbert Slanted Sled. I think it's a quarter race cam. I think is what I called it. I don't know, something stupid.
Oh, I think that is what you called it.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing: is between that video and now you can get the DLC coated lifters. So I mean, you could literally put the because I bet that's probably a solid, isn't it?
Yes, it's solid. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. And that's the ticket right there.
And if you want to run hydraulics in that, if you watch how I built the last Slant 6 that's in the green car, the Lizard King, I put hydraulics in that with a solid head. I just backfed the oil through it, and it's got hydraulics in it with the DLC coated lifters on it, and they're quiet. In fact, right now I'm doing an experiment. I haven't driven it since October, since I got back from Six Smokies. And when I start it back up in a few months, I'm going to see if they tick at all. I'm going to do it live, so that will tell you if it bled down or not. And they're 20 thousandths off the bottom, so if it makes noise, we'll know.
Well, let's see. Buick Smith says, Dallas, I can tell you for a fact under a microscope that I can get a better edge on a knife with kerosene as a stone lube every time than other oils on an oil stone. That's 100%. Pretty interesting. That was like the secret trick way back when I was a kid. Was my dad was running stock eliminator, and they had the Buick Pistons all had that 5/64 ring. Well, somebody along the way figured out you could run that 16,000th ring in it, and you had two spacers or a spacer in there that took up the extra slack. And then the ticket used to be hone the cylinders with a dingle ball hone and kerosene.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Oh, Clint, I forgot to look. Damn it. I promised him I would look too. We were talking about battery sizes and power and cold cranking amps. I told him I went down to the store and I brought a scale with me because I like to run over the counter batteries. So what I did is I made a ratio of weight per cold cranking amps, and I told him I would tell him the group size, and I totally forgot it. I will look it up. Thanks for reminding me. Remind me tomorrow. I'm not going to do it tonight. Remind me tomorrow, and I'll look at it tomorrow. So I apologize for that. So Vintage Adventure Drive. So I watched through the Slant series. I have a Dolce Dual style manifold. I'm hoping to make a Slant that's slightly stronger than that one was. Yes. Now I've had that before, and I have the Dolce Duals on it. The biggest thing about the dual Dolce Duals is the exhaust. Now I made my own custom exhaust for that, and they were length was perfect for them as far as how they were coming back, but you got to get the overlap triangle on the camshaft. Now I ran a 217 225 on a 108 lobe separation angle with a regular 4-barrel carburetor on it, and I daily drove that for a while, and it was good. It just wasn't very fun to drive around. In fact, I'm much happier with the much smaller camshaft.
That's what you were saying before, is that okay, the Slant is just like a V6 Buick. One, you only got 6 cylinders.
Yes.
And it's easy to get over that tipping point where it's not drivable, or it's like not enjoyable to drive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not fun. And I was past that tipping point, and it was fun on the freeway, but around town it just sucked. So now
which is the time probably around town.
Yeah, right. So now it drives everywhere good. So I'm not happy about it. I'm happy with it. Let's see. Anything?
Well, Buick Smith here says that if I could get the same types of stones for a hone that I could buy for sharpening knives, I could make some pretty awesome crosshatch patterns on a cylinder. I tell you what, Buick Smith, I think there's probably a market for that, to be honest with you. If you could create your own stones, or you create your own honing stones, like for a universal hone, that aren't the cheap Chinesium junk that you get at Napa that everybody's forced to buy. If you could just use the regular hone as a universal setup, and then you just send them the stones that are pre-cut and pre-made for this, I think there's probably a market for that, man. Because I think really that's the thing that used to set having cheap rings and really good rings apart, was having that expensive ass hone job.
Yeah.
And the only places that could do it was like a machine shop that was set up for it. And I swear I've taken them to machine shops that they were like, and then they just charged me for it and didn't do jack crap. I'm sure, right, because it was always what I asked for. But I would really like to do that at home. And I think that's almost worth like a video. If I could find multiple types of stones, and then you could microscopically see the difference. I don't know if you could do microscopically, but
he has it. They sell a meter just for this. Lake Speed talks about it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's
the one for the testing RA.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Roughness.
Yeah, so he puts it on there, and then they actually have one too that goes to the computer, and it'll take a snapshot of it, and it tells you how your peak valley, if it's the right amount for this. Dude, it's crazy. He went deep into ring tech. I watched a whole bunch of that about a year ago when I was building the Cookie Monster. I wanted to do it right.
Because Tony pissed me off when I was doing the 400 for the Suburban. I honed it for Molly rings because I ordered plastic Molly rings because they were available. Because usually when I'm talking big block Buick, there's never anything except for 5/64 rings, right? It's the only one that's its size.
Yep.
But when you get down to the 400, it's got a 4040 bore. And it was like I was in the world of great all the good stuff, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, dude, they got plasma moly rings. So I'm going to own this block. And he was like, oh, that block, those rings will be junk in 20 seconds. And I'm like, how is that?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't hone that at home. And I'm like, oh, I can. I've done it before, right? But I'm telling you, there's an art to it. And it's like this, it doesn't feel like sandpaper when you're done. It feels smooth like a baby's butt, but you can see the crosshatches in it. And when you're done honing it, that kerosene that you're honing with, it looks completely different than anything else. That when you pull the hone out, you'll see the kerosene slowly run, and it's like it's grabbing hold of ledges as it's running down. It is slowly going. And if you do it with like WD-40, the shit just runs straight down the cylinder.
Exactly. You can tell when someone's honed with WD-40 or ATF opposed to kerosene. I can just look at it and tell you just by the way the scratch marks are applied, because the kerosene is a good lubricant and a cooler at the exact same time, where WD-40 just doesn't do it right. And
I don't think it doesn't allow stuff to bite.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow a stone to bite into the steel, or maybe it's the other way around, because he was talking about sharpening it on a stone. And maybe it's the steel biting into the stone.
Could be. So Miss Catchy's saying Shane has his own cams. Not only do I have my own cams, but I have my own profiles. I designed the profiles just for 904 and for Slant 6 because the engine is so slow moving, and it's got such a long ass rod on it. So the dwell atop is massive. So I run very, very fast ramps on the Slant 6 because you're not going to run it over 5,000 RPM in most cases. So I designed a bunch of profiles just for the Slant 6.
Well, you do have your own cams. Remember, like,
yeah,
made that one for the Buick 430, that one we called the BMF, the Bad Mother Thumper.
Oh yeah. I made profiles just for that. You remember that?
I do. Yeah, and I have that cam for, like, I plan, if I ever get my life in order, I'm going to order some of those cams. I'm going to sell them.
I'm telling you, that thing was awesome. I told Dallas, it's like, I want something. I was like, Dallas, I remember him telling me, I was like, dude, this is the greatest thing ever. I said, I've always wanted to do this for tape performance. He wants quiet. He doesn't care. Just make it run. He wants to make no sound. Well, I can make so much more power with this. And he goes, I don't care.
It was like goofy when you think of it, because I was like, I need something that has the chop. I need something that has the power. And then I need something that can run vacuum brakes.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, dude, anything else? I'm like, no. But then I got it, and I broke that cam in. Oh my God, did it sound good, dude?
But you said, you'd like this one cam, and I'm like, well, that's perfect, because that cam runs great. I'll have the same duration at 50. It'll act exactly the same, but it'll have so much more area under the curve. It's going to sound like a much bigger camshaft.
Dude, you remember when I called you and I said, I can hear the lifters clattering almost as much as the engine running. And you're like, yeah, that's crashback. That means it's coming down hard and fast.
That's
and I'm like, it sounds badass. The boogity was like there.
Yeah. And it was instant power. Whoop-pow, whoop-pow.
Yeah, it was super snappy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I need to order some of those and just put them in engines and take it to the Buick Nationals and sell the engines, because I think that they'll sell themselves.
Right. Yeah. So his 350 has mildly hopped up. I'm shifting at 6,000 RPM. But down tells me there's more left. Internals are PAW kit balanced. Awesome. At TA Springs and some other tricks. Dude, I would really look. Do
you want to know what the profile of that cam is?
Yeah. What's a Poston GS 118?
Hold on. That's a Poston. Poston went out of business in 2005 or 6. I just so happen to have a spreadsheet here that has every Buick camshaft profile on it. So his Poston GS 118 cam, it says the power band on it's from 2,500 to 6,000. It's a 228 on the intake, 246 on the exhaust, on a 118 LSA.
That's so wide. Now, is that from TA Performance?
No, this is Poston.
And okay, but
Poston was like the East Coast variant of TA Performance. Back when there used to be 3 Buick parts manufacturers: Poston, TA Performance, and Kenny Bell.
Okay.
Kenny Bell went out of business, and they didn't go out of business. They shifted over to blowers in 2000, and then Poston went out of business the first time the economy took a dump, right? Like 2006 or 7, whenever that was. That's when Poston disappeared.
There's so much more in this camshaft. If you just got rid of some of that lobe separation angle, and you got rid of some of that duration on the exhaust, you could actually make this thing run significantly better. It would make so much more mid-range.
So there's no way to really do that. That Poston, that 118 cam, it has 490 lift. That's it. Okay. Now
we can regrind that. I mean, it's regrindable, or just make something different.
Right. Okay. So this Poston GS 113A sounds like it'd probably be the better ticket. 232 intake, 246 exhaust on a 113 LSA. Right. But okay. It depends which 118 he has, actually. Because apparently there's a second one.
Yeah, the 118 is just going to kill. That makes it just so lazy.
It still has the 118 LSA.
Yeah,
it's 244, 266. I don't think he has that one though, because it would hardly idle.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, it's got to be the other one. And with that amount, without a big split between the two numbers and the 118, it just sounds lazy. It probably makes good power because it's a Buick, making all that power right off the bat. But I don't know. I would just do something different personally. I wouldn't go that direction.
Bruce Colchin says buy a Sonnen handheld hone with all of the different kinds of stones. I have one that you can change the stones in. You actually screw out.
Mine do too. Mine screw out.
Oh.
Yeah. Vintage Drive saying, Shane, thoughts on small duration, narrow LSA. I'm thinking about a 210 at 50,000 duration, but a 108 narrow LSA for a slant. Yeah. No, you could do that. In fact, the one in my car right now is a 212 on a 110, and I installed it on 106. You can go with a shorter 108. Here's the thing, though, is that if you're going to go with the 210 duration, you want to run the fastest ramps you can, so that way you can get the air into the curve. But you're right on track. I mean, I think the one that's in my car right now is on a hydraulic, which is a faster master than a solid, and I believe it's 212, 216. I believe it's on a 110 LSA right now, and it idles smooth as can be, and it runs really, really, really good for what it is.
So KS Skyhawk says, am I shifting too soon? Are my pistons close to finding a new home outside the wheel wells? Where's practical RPM limit for a small block Buick 350? The 350s like to rev because the pistons and rods are light. I mean, it does have a ton of stroke, which makes piston speed stupid fast. But it having long rods makes it characteristic of wanting to rev. But 6,000 is not even a problem. I used to shift mine at 7,200. So, and that's probably where I'll shift this super stock one at. I think the cam probably is going to run out of guts right around there.
John, absolutely. Yes. I can also tell if someone does their honing with gasoline because it looks terrible. It's literally like a rock. You might as well have just ground it on the asphalt because it looks like that. You could just tell. Yes. I didn't say that, but yes. In fact, I have a block downstairs that I picked up.
Hold on, man. Did you look at the one right below that? Vintage Adventure Drive says, I've always used gasoline or brake clean to hone engines. What are your thoughts on that?
Is he serious? No, you don't. That's the worst thing you could ever do. There's no
it needs to have some kind of lubricity to it.
Yeah. Literally. And in fact, I'm making a joke about this because I have a block downstairs right now that I picked up from someone. I'm not going to name names. And it was literally honed with gasoline, and it looks absolutely atrocious. It looks, the scratch marks are not even. It's just all over the place, and you're like, you could tell that it was done wrong.
Huh.
Yeah. Don't do it like this. Just use kerosene. Literally, that's the best thing you can use. And then when you clean it, get yourself some. Don't use paper. I show this all the time. Go get yourself some white coffee filters and some ATF, and then just clean it with a white filter.
Keep wiping it with the filters until they're like there's no more dirt on them.
Yes, and you will see it. It'll just be red pink, and you're going to be surprised how long it took. I showed my wife when she was cleaning those for me, and it literally took her almost 2 or 3 hours to clean every cylinder, so there was nothing on it. But you can see it, and then the filters leave no residue. If you use any type of fiber or paper, it'll get impregnated inside those little holes. It'll hold oil, and then it'll take forever for your rings to
My wife used to get mad at me because she would come in the garage and there would be like mounds of those filters, because it takes like probably 6 coffee filters, 6 to 8 coffee filters for one cylinder.
Yeah, per cylinder. Sounds about right. Yep.
So Buick Smith says, and he's not talking out of his ass. This guy is just to throw this out there. This guy makes knives. He's like he forges stuff. That's why it says Buick Smith. He's a blacksmith. Okay, kerosene floats the steel out of the stone more efficiently. Other oils start to clog the top surface of the stone.
Yep.
You are just getting a more consistent bite from the stone.
And you can see that too. Gasoline is the worst because it will clog up. And that's what I'm saying is that it will look like it'll have one groove that's deeper and then another groove that's deeper. So you have deep, soft, depth. There are different depths. But when you use kerosene, it's an even cut all the way across, and you can see it. WD-40 is so this is the worst. If you're going to do gasoline, worst. WD-40, it gets a little better. ATF, and then kerosene's way over here. And you can tell by those 4 what people use just by how the finish is by those 4 different fluids.
See, I used to use kerosene a lot, and then it got to be stupid expensive because before it used to be like $2 a gallon, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like probably $9 a gallon.
Yeah, it's expensive.
So I started just using WD-40.
I go down to Tractor Supply, and they have the kerosene in little 1 gallon containers. That's what I use. Yeah, it's just kerosene. So
Bruce Copeland says I use sun and honing oil. Boy, is it expensive. I don't know what the honing oil technically. I'm sure there's another application for that oil. Yeah. But man, I bet you if you get it directly from Sun, it probably is expensive. Michael Schmidt says WD-40, as time goes by, I get more and more disappointed with this product.
I agree.
That company has been bought and sold so many times. Terrible spray nozzle. I don't think I have completely finished can in years. Okay,
I've been seeing this too. I
fixed this years ago. I kept having the same problem where it's like half the can left, and you have to poke a hole in it to get the shit out.
Yes.
Right? You remember when they came out with the steel spray nozzles, the handheld spray cans that were filled with WD-40? They were expensive, man. They were like $6-7. And I bought one, and they're refillable.
Yes.
You can cut the ring off on the outside because it locks into place. You can cut the ring off and then take the whole top off. And then I just buy the 1 gallon and I just fill it up with that. That's
what I do now. Is I just go down at was it Home Depot? You can buy a gallon of WD-40 and I have a spray bottle. And I just spray it, and that's what I use now. And the spray bottle's got 2 different nozzles because by the time you go with the can, you get the little the wrap hose and all that crap. They're like, whatever, it's 40% more. It runs out, the head breaks, and you've got half a can left. You're like, this sucks,
Yeah, I don't buy the aerosol WD-40 anymore at all. I got tired of just eating half the can.
Yeah. I'm not saying it, so it's right there on for the screen for you to read. But there you go.
Well, that's probably where John Wilburn's joke honestly came from.
Yes,
was that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, it's the last thing you want to use. Now, will it clean? Gasoline will clean. Absolutely. Diesel will clean, and whatnot. Here's one thing I've done too. I got to tell you, I've done this too. I've honed with diesel one time, and it came out just below kerosene as far as how it looked, because diesel is also a lubricant. You
It's a
know,
little bit
and
thinner than kerosene.
it's a lot thinner than kerosene, so
It's less refined.
it's less refined. Yes, but I did use it one time because I couldn't find kerosene,
Yeah,
and
you
it
can use
did
diesel.
work.
Yeah, diesel would probably work pretty good.
Yeah, it did work. It was better. It was better than ATF, but it wasn't good as kerosene. It was right there in the middle.
Yeah, the only problem with ATF, I went home with ATF. ATF is expensive to do that with.
Yeah, now it is. It used to be 99 cents because that's what I used for everything was ATF.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I used to use ATF for like I would fill up my filters with ATF, on my diesel and screw them on there and whatever because it was cheap. Now it's like, holy crap, this is like liquid gold,
Skyhawk says, Dallas, you mean up to 7,000 as long as it doesn't start gagging and wheezing? Well, I don't know where your cam stops making power at is where you shift. You would generally find out what that number is, and you probably need to. If it's still pulling hard at 6,000, take her up to 6,500 and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt it to go that high in RPM at least once. But I'm assuming with that cam profile where it's saying it's good from 2,500 to $6,000, it's probably pretty dang close. You might get to 6,200, 6,300 based on your springs and retainers and all that stuff adds up, right? But I would rev it till you feel it nose over. You'll feel it run out of power. It'll stop pulling, and then that's where you shift right before then.
Yeah, I was just saying it. Kerosene, if you have kerosene, use that. Diesel didn't come out nearly as good, but it came out better than ATF. I'm just saying though that I would just stay with the kerosene if you can get it. You can get it for a gallon of it. It's expensive, but it's your engine.
Not bad. I mean, it's like $9 for a gallon.
But that's expensive compared to like $3 for a gallon for diesel.
Right. I don't know what ATF is by the gallon, but I imagine it's probably somewhere around $9.
Yeah, it's like
diesel is like only what, $3.50 a gallon. So
yeah, well, I think the ATF now is like almost like $2 a gallon, a quart.
Quart.
Yeah, so it's like that's $8 or $9. Yeah, so it's right there.
Yeah, that's a sad part. What's the ATF? I don't know. Maybe we grew up in a good era because it was like there's certain things I could throw out. The ATF. I never bought any other brand of ATF than Type F until I was probably like 30 years old.
Yeah, right.
Right. Because Type F, it used to be the ticket. You take Type F and put it in any transmission, they'd shift harder and quicker. Right?
Yeah, it's true.
They generally run cooler. And then you use the Type F to hone your block. The Type F had the most detergent in it. So
yeah, and I would use Type F, and I would put acetone, and that was my very first penetrating oil. I learned that trick way back when, and that's I have that downstairs, and I've been using that since the 90s because ATF is so damn cheap.
It was, and the sad part is, it wasn't until probably 2018 or 19 I went in a store they didn't have Type F, and I'm like, how do you not have Type F transmission fluid?
Right?
Yeah. Oh, we got Dextron Mercon 3 and 4. Well, of course you do, but that's every GM from 78 till now. But that's not what you use for performance.
Yeah. Clint saying that he's kind of a PB Blaster kind of guy. Look, PB Blaster's got its place. I like PB Blaster, but sometimes that smell of PB Blaster just gets on my nerves. You know what I'm talking about? Have you smelled that? Like have you ever lubed your doors with PB Blaster on your truck?
I have, and I don't like the smell.
No, I just don't like it.
It smells like kerosene is what it smells like.
I
actually, you know what it smells like? Camping fuel.
Yes, that's it. Not kerosene, camping fuel. That's correct. The one that you put in there you had the little pump, Coleman. Remember that?
Yeah.
Here we go. This is for you.
Let's see. Buick Smith says, Dallas, I would love to do a cylinder with a set of Japanese water stones. Can get them for 320 grit to over 32,000 grit. The stones actually make a slurry that polishes as it cuts.
Wow.
That would be interesting to see what you could do with a hone. Like, make some honing stones that are like one-off pieces that are what you use for like real metal smithing, like, this kind of stuff. And the Japanese used to sharpen those blades, like the katana blades, to where they were like cut hairs off your head, right?
Mm-hmm. Buff, he says that he would think a gallon of kerosene will last a long time. Here's the problem with it though: is you get it contaminated because you gotta put it in the stones, you gotta clean it, and then you bring it back out, and then you hone it through, and then whatever you pour into whatever you have, because you got to keep dipping it, and then as you're cutting it, you don't want to have those things get dry. You want to keep them wet, so you're going to be pouring some of that. So I probably use about half a gallon per an engine easily.
That's how I do it. Is I pour it in a pan.
Yeah,
I pour it in a pan, and it sits underneath the engine, and then I dump my hone in the pan.
Yes,
and then I hone it, and all the stuff runs off into the pan. I keep collecting it and trying to reuse it, but it'll turn gray after a little while.
That's right? Exactly.
And I probably got a half a gallon in there just in the pan. It might, I don't know, it might not be that much, but I think it is. Because half a gallon is 2 quarts, right?
Yeah. ATF is far more expensive than you're saying. Type F is $9 a quart. I didn't know that. I didn't know it's $9 a quart local O'Reilly's. I didn't know that.
Really?
Wow.
I don't remember it being that expensive. That's a lot. Because Walmart, I buy it. Look, are you guys buying this by the quart? Because I always go like Tractor Supply and Walmart. I always buy like those big 1.5 gallon jug or whatever it is, the big one.
Also, too, go buy some of your oils at Home Depot. I buy my my T6 Rotella. No, not Rotella. The what's that?
I get my Rotella T6 at Tractor Supply because you can get it in the 540 variant.
Yeah. So okay. Oh yeah. So it's Rotella T. Yeah. So I get Rotella, the T6, and they have the 3 gallon container, and it's like $30 something. It's cheap. It's massively cheap, and it's actually like $15 cheaper. And they have ATF there at Home Depot. So go and check that out. And they sell all your PB Blaster, and that's where I get all my grease. My Lucas Oil red high tack grease. I get it from there because it's cheaper to buy it from there.
So Michael Schmidt's saying hone. So use kerosene for deeper crosshatch, and then slightly hone with thicker oil to smooth rough areas or a plateau finish. No, if you want to do a plateau hone,
use kerosene.
Yeah, use your kerosene the whole time. But what you'll do is if you're using your plateau, you'll start off with like a 400, and then you'll move to like 800 or 1,000. And that will smooth everything out, but you'll still have those nice crevices in there.
Yeah.
But use kerosene the whole time. And you can tell when it's ready because, all right, if you've ever honed anything with WD-40, it'll literally, you pull the hone out and it's just running down the cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, and it runs down.
Yeah. It's like water.
When you're done, it almost hangs in the cylinder wall and you can see it move like
a wave, kind of like a small, like little. Yes,
that's exactly the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
It doesn't run. It actually has enough viscosity that it's clinging onto the grooves in the cylinder wall.
Yeah, and it's cleaning it at the same time. So yeah, I would use a kerosene the whole way through.
Clint Street Machine says for chat, I was gifted a Thor air-powered die grinder. 18,000 RPM max, very heavy. Is this as cool as I think it is? Anyone used one?
I've never used it. Never even heard of it.
I've never used an air-powered die grinder.
Yeah. This is right here. This is a comment of the whole night right here. Someone asked Cope what type of ATF he recommended. He said red.
And you know what's funny is when we were racing out there at Verona, there was a guy, what's his name? Jordan Rundell.
Yeah, he uses hydraulic.
He had that turbocharged Firebird.
Uh-huh.
He ran Mobil 1.
Yeah.
Like 0.5 motor oil in his transmission.
Yeah, people do that. People have run that. They've also run like Honda.
He was trying to loosen the converter, and that's supposed to be worth like 200 RPM on a converter because it's a thinner fluid.
Yeah, and also too, they have different types of hydraulic oil. So like if you for your hydraulic cylinders, you can use the thicker ones and the thinner ones for the exact same thing. Your thicker will tighten it up, thinner, loosen it up.
For a race car, that kind of stuff is fine, right? But like if you're daily driving those things have no detergents in them.
No.
right? So they will literally collect dirt and dust and crap inside the transmission, and it can't get rid of it. That's the downside.
He says, I still have cans of ATF Type F on the top of the punch spout. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Type F is I use that for everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right here. Yeah, that's exactly what I use. I use a spray bottle of kerosene. Yep.
No, that's perfect.
Yep.
He says maybe that's not wet enough. No, that's perfect.
That's exactly right. Because that's all you need. It's just all it's got to be is just wet enough. I like it also is I dip it, and then as it's going, I'll pour some. Or if I have a spray bottle, and I'll just
I have a spray bottle. Yeah, I just dip when I'm done with the cylinder. I dip it in there because I let the kerosene pull all that crap out of the stones.
Yeah, and I spin it on slow speed, just in there slightly, just to kind of clean it off.
Okay, maybe I need to do a video on honing.
Yeah, you should. Seems like
it sounds like everybody has their own different way of doing it, and I don't know if mine's the right way. I just know what seems to work the best. Because if you're talking, those scratches in the bore are not for anything but the purpose of collecting motor oil
and moving rings.
Does it make the rings move?
Yes, it does. Down and changes directions on them too, but it does hold oil and does move the rings. Blue Grit saying that he has a cylinder hone that uses emery cloth in lieu of stones. Wow.
Huh. Well, I don't know. How that would work. You'd have to change that out of every cylinder.
Yeah, I don't know
how that think it would last very long.
No, I don't think so either.
Buick Smith says if you look at the polished surface of a real katana, the surface by the Harmon wavy line looks three-dimensional, like a polished black paint job with lots of layers of clear.
That's the heat treating process. That's actually that heat right there. What that is, and that's how it gets the curve, is that they put clay on the katana, and then they heat it up, and then when they quench it, and that's when they temper it, and that's actually what gives the katana its bend and its color, and that's why it's all wavy, is because it's literally clay that they put on there.
I don't know if that's what I know. They used to use like that 32,000 grit stones.
Yeah, they probably do that too, but I'm just saying though that the wavy line, the black wavy line that's on there is 100% from the heat treating process, and that's actually what curves the blade, is when they do
that. See, Ray is saying the same thing. Racer Ray is saying the same thing here. Some of the custom harvesters that came through here, and they use tractor hydraulic oil in their Allison transmissions in the trucks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a vintage adventure drive. Okay. Dust Devil says the B&M trick shift is blue.
Yeah.
I was always told that trick shift is just Type F.
Could be.
We've told that a long time ago.
I actually use the oil for TCI. I use the TCI. What's it called? Slick shift. That stuff's actually pretty good.
Vintage Adventure Drive says I use Type F in automatics, dirt bike transmissions, and mix it with gear oil for diffs and manual transmissions. I've never mixed it with the gear oil. I imagine it's probably be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine, because all you're doing is just putting more detergent in it. That's all you're doing.
All it really is. Like if you've ever like changed a transmission by yourself and then it dripped down in your eye, God, it burns, right? Like because of the detergent in it. All right. So Buick Smith says, I have heard that GL5 fluid, like most gear oils have, is bad for the older bronze synchros in a trans. It should be GL4. Is that right? I was always told if it has bronze synchros in it that it's that's where you use automatic transmission fluid in them.
Yeah. That's what I've heard too. Absolutely.
And that's actually I wonder what the brass has to do with that.
I don't know.
I wonder if it's just because of the lubricity of the transmission fluid.
How thin it is, yeah. My TKX downstairs is literally ATF fluid. That's the fluid that goes in it. Can you believe, man? It's already 8:55.
Yeah, I know it's flown by. I've had a good time tonight.
Yeah,
Buffdale Campbell says something here. He said he had one of those Emery Clough hones back in 1971. It's called a glaze breaker. I know what a glaze breaker is.
yeah.
Glaze breaker you're supposed to use before you hone
Yes.
to knock the glaze down.
That's right.
The glaze is literally just burnt oil. It's carbon, and it's embedded in the previous hone job, the crosshatch from the previous hone job.
Wow.
Yeah, that 2 hours just flew by.
Yeah, I've always heard that brass synchros need GL4, GL5 is said to eat the brass. I thought the GL5 just had the anti friction modifier in it.
I don't know what GL4 and GL5 is.
I know one of them has a friction modifier and the other one doesn't. It comes in it. Well, there's a little bit of it in there.
So Dakota's saying, what grit for plasma Molly rings? It's probably 800 grit, but you're going to need to, like we were talking about earlier, is plateau hone it. You're going to have to hit it with a 400 and then an 800 or a 400 and then 1,000, depending on what like how big the Molly ring is.
Yeah.
Dust Devil says the real question is what fluid works best in the switch pitch. And for that, you're going to have to be here next week.
Right. Right. Man. So, man, the 2 hours just flew by. Oh, Race saying that's right here that the NV 3500 in the 95 Chevy called for GM special fluid. That was kind of a Mopar 10W30 synthetic. Wow. Probably because of those brass synchros. That's probably why.
I don't know. I remember the first time I ever saw red transmission fluid come out of a transmission was a BorgWarner T5, right?
That's
and
right.
my buddy had a Mustang with a T5 in it.
Yep.
And it kept having a problem where it would kick itself out of like third gear, I think. And so we crawled up under there, change of fluid in it.
It's red.
And it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, like, what idiot filled this gearbox full of fucking, like
same thing, man.
Same like 480, 90 in it or whatever the fuck it is. And then it's like you couldn't get it to shift at all. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, oh, I think we screwed this up. Let's drain it back out and put red transmission fluid back in it. And again, type F, right? But it's supposed to be Dextron Mercon, I believe.
Right here it says, I read the label on the bottle about the GL4 top loaders need thicker gear oil, not transfluid. Yeah. So I actually have a top loader. I do have one. And I run, I think it says 80, 90 is what it's supposed to be for, is what's in it. So, and I'm not sure if it was GL4 GL5, but I literally just put 80, 90 fluid in it. I just didn't care. I just put it in there.
Okay.
Yeah, Dizzy. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I finally got a hold of Dizzy today.
Oh, he called you?
Yeah. So he called me up. So anyways, yeah, it was nice talking to you. So awesome. But you guys with that, and Kathy's saying here that she that we hopes that the power lines are not down and everything, that we're all frozen up. Yeah, no, we're good. We're good here. Everything's there's ice everywhere, but we're all good. So you got any videos coming out?
No.
I'm
recording stuff, and I'll eventually put a video out. I'd like to get to a point where I got a video that's worth watching.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, let's plug this here. John Wilburn says, quick plug if I may. Absolutely. I'll be live with Drag Boss Garage. Tim Howell said Friday, 7 Central Eastern. And it's going to be a biographical style where we did with John Ward and Deke. So perfect. Awesome.
Ron
so
Ward.
Go check them out. Was that?
Yeah.
Did I say Ron Ward or Don Ward?
You said John Ward.
John Ward. Oh, I meant to say Ron Ward. Anyways, yeah. And if you haven't seen that, man, he got interviewed. That was pretty awesome. So that was awesome.
So I was chatting with him while we were having Snowmageddon.
Yeah, right. So, all right, guys. Well, you guys take it easy. We'll guys see you next week. And if, like I said, slantdailygarage@yahoo.com, I can actually access that now again. I got a new computer here. And if you got any questions, put it there, and we'll see what we can get to them. With that, we'll take you guys next week.
We're out. Yeah, we're out.
See you later.